On May 28, 2025, residents of San Juan Island's North Shore noticed a downed bald eagle on Sentinel Island, sitting in the tidal zone, unable to fly. After calling Wolf Hollow to assess the situation, these Good Samaritans jumped into action.
Okay, here we are out on the side of Sentinel Island, and we're rescuing an eagle. Jimmy is up there.
Yay!
He's up there in the bushes. He's got a yellow or orange sleeping bag that he's rescuing him, and he's going to carry him down here to the shore, and like a football, he told us, and put him in the boat.
Their captain positioned his personal watercraft in the channel, holding steady with the current, while another member of the crew jumped onto the rocky shore to attempt capture. The eagle was so debilitated that the rescuer was able to wrap him up in a sleeping bag and carry him down to the water. After securing the eagle, who they would affectionately call Sentinel, in the boat, they quickly made their way to Wolf Hollow Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, where our lead wildlife technician, Clarenda Hart, was ready for the intake exam. She immediately recognized a major problem. This bird was riddled with avian pox, a viral disease that is highly contagious to other birds and fatal if left untreated. Wearing appropriate protective gear, Clarenda gave Eagle number 2560 a thorough exam, including weight, blood work, and an eye exam. She treated him with fluids, antibiotics, and pain medication, and gave him a much-needed rest after a stressful day. The plan for this patient was clear: clean him up, get him hydrated, and give him supportive care while his body cleared the virus on its own. This patient would have to be in strict quarantine while the pox lesions cracked and fell off, a process that would take nearly 4 months. The feathers around the lesions would have to be cut away to prevent secondary infections and to allow rehab staff to properly treat and monitor the lesion sites. These photos show the progression of these lesions on a weekly basis. By his 15th week in care, this eagle was moved to an outdoor, limited movement enclosure to allow him to stretch his wings, adapt to outside temperatures, and most importantly, to be monitored for any recurrence of the avian pox lesions. Sentinel spent nearly 2 months in the outdoor mew, preening, bathing, taking in the sounds of nature, and building his very important flight muscles. We used a trail camera in his mew to capture his behavior and monitor his progress. These video clips are just a few of the hundreds that were captured, but they give you a great sense of how an eagle behaves when no one is watching. Rehab staff performed weekly exams, which included a weigh-in, keel score for flight muscle development, and a thorough skin check for any new lesions. Sentinel gained weight steadily as his flight muscles grew stronger, and his behavior became increasingly aggressive as he started feeling better, which is exactly what we want to see in rehabilitation. The last signs of his skin lesions completely healed, and with no sign of recurrence, he was ready for the Eagle Flight Enclosure. Everyone at Wolf Hollow was excited to see Sentinel move into our 140-foot-long flight enclosure, built specifically to condition eagles. None were more excited than the eagle himself, who celebrated by immediately taking a refreshing bath in his big pool. The treatment for avian pox includes the application of iodine to the lesion sites, which had dyed his white head feathers yellow. But after this bath, the last of the iodine was washed away, and our patient was another step closer to looking like a normal, healthy, bald eagle. The following 3 weeks, Sentinel worked hard to get his flight conditioning back on track. Rehab staff expected him to need a little extra time to get back to normal since he had spent the last 5 months grounded. However, he blew everyone away when he reached the highest perch in the enclosure on his first day. He still needed some time to work on his stamina, and we expected him to be ready for release around Thanksgiving. After just 2 weeks in care, Sentinel showed us that he was more than ready to live a wild life again. When an animal is ready to go, they let you know, and it is very important that you listen when they communicate. Rehab staff made the executive decision to release him 1 week early to prevent any stress-related injuries, as well as to make sure he was released during good weather. This radiograph shows the muscle mass in this patient's shoulders on intake when he was too weak to fly. The following radiograph was taken the week before this patient was released, showing just how much muscle he built during his rehabilitation. On November 19th, 2025, 176 days after he was rescued, bald eagle number 2560, also known as Sentinel, was released to his home territory. His rescuers and his rehabilitators gathered to watch him take his first flight over the open ocean in nearly 6 months. The joy of watching this animal return to the wild, knowing he has a second chance at a wild life, is worth all the time and resources required to get him there. A special thank you to his rescuers, Jim and Robin Tart, and Scott and Sally Kramer, who saw a wild animal in need and jumped to the rescue.